If you're loving this podcast, be sure to check out our full lineup. From news and local politics to sports and true crime, find your next great listen right now at duluthnewstribune.com/podcasts. That's duluthnewstribune.com/podcasts.
Hello, Northlanders. It's Wednesday, June 12th. I'm Wyatt Buckner, the Duluth News Tribune Minute, presented by Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union.
The average MPECU member saves over $785 a year in better rates and lower fees. And with MPECU, every ATM is your ATM. With their free checking program, you get ATM fee reimbursements at any ATM anywhere in the U.S. Check out Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union's services online at mpecu.com or visit their offices in downtown Duluth, Arrowhead Road, or Miller Trunk Highway.
Now here's a look at today's headlines. Divers found a 13-foot-long crack along the bottom of a ship that took on water in Lake Superior on Saturday. While the crew of the 689-foot Michipicoten initially reported striking an underwater object 35 miles southwest of Isle Royale at 6:53 a.m. on June 8th, the U.S. Coast Guard said it suspects structural fatigue or failure may be to blame. The Canadian-flagged vessel, built in 1952, was carrying taconite pellets from two harbors when it began taking on water Saturday morning, prompting an evacuation of half its crew and an emergency diversion to Thunder Bay as pumps worked to reduce the ship's listing from 15 degrees to 5 degrees. The U.S. Coast Guard, Border Patrol, and National Park Service were sent to the ship, as was a Coast Guard helicopter from Traverse City, Michigan. The freighter Edwin H. Gott was also alongside the Michipicoten for part of its journey to Thunder Bay. Lieutenant Joseph Snyder, a spokesperson for the Coast Guard, said the Michipicoten remains safely moored at Thunder Bay's Kiefer Terminal as it undergoes temporary repairs. The Michipicoten's owner, Rand Logistics, did not immediately respond to the News Tribune's request for comment. A federal grand jury has indicted a man accused of severely assaulting an elderly lakeside resident and stealing his truck in June 2021. Warren Holt Jr., 31 of Duluth, is charged with carjacking under the indictment unsealed in U.S. District Court in late May. Federal authorities detained Holt on May 30th, just 4 days before he was set to stand trial in State District Court in Duluth for the same crime. Holt is accused of going to a residence on the 6100 block of East Superior Street on June 16, 2021, and attacking a 78-year-old man. A criminal complaint alleges that he struck the victim with a can, wrapped his arm around the man's neck, and dragged him to the rear of a garage, where the victim was stabbed multiple times with an awl, a woodworking tool similar to an ice pick. The victim told police that the suspect had been by his house less than an hour before the attack, looking at a Ford truck parked in the driveway before the homeowner shooed him away. The complaint describes an ambush attack that left the victim with several injuries to the face and head, as well as puncture wounds to the chest, including above his heart. He also suffered broken ribs, a punctured lung, and injuries to the neck and throat, according to court documents. Holt was allegedly found driving the victim's Ford near Scanlon some 30 minutes later. He reportedly told Carleton County deputies that he was looking to purchase the truck and was test driving it. Arresting officers noted he had a fresh cut on his wrist and apparent blood on his shoe. Holt was charged in state court days later with aggravated first-degree robbery, first-degree assault, and 2 counts of first-degree burglary. But his case has remained pending for 3 years and seen a number of delays related to pre-trial motions and mental health evaluations. His federal arrest necessitated the cancellation of the June 3rd trial date, which defense attorney Derek Hansen contended was a violation of Holt's rights. Hansen had filed a speedy trial demand on April 9th, requiring the matter to be heard by a jury within 60 days. But Judge Dale Harris last week declined to dismiss the case, noting Holt is, quote, not being denied his trial nor even a speedy trial, end quote. Holt pleaded not guilty to the federal charge at a May 24th arraignment. Defense attorney Melvin Welch last week filed notice that he will argue insanity and seek to introduce psychological evidence already collected in the state case. The carjacking is alleged to have resulted in serious bodily injury, which makes the offense punishable by up to 25 years in prison. Holt, while out on bail in February 2022, was rearrested and charged with 6 felonies for allegedly physically and sexually assaulting a woman. That case also still remains pending in state court. Holt is now being held at the Sherburne County Jail near the Twin Cities. Now here's a look at your forecast, brought to you by Superior Telegram's history podcast, Archive Dive.
Weather for the Duluth area today, looking at a partly cloudy start to the day, and then we'll be looking at chances of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. Some of them could be on the strong to severe side with large hail, strong winds, and a small chance of an isolated tornado. We'll be looking at temperatures in the low 80s this afternoon, getting into the low 60s for tonight. And then for Thursday, we dry on out, mostly sunny skies with highs in the mid-70s. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist Robert Pointer.
Thank you to Archive Dive for their support. The monthly history podcast, hosted by Superior Telegram reporter Maria Lockwood, dips into the archives of historic events, people, and places around Superior and Douglas County. A new episode titled The Rediscovery of Dick Bong's Marge Plane is now available at superiortelegram.com or where we also get this podcast. Reporting for today's episode was done by Jimmy Loverin and Tom Olson. Thank you for listening to Duluth News Tribune Minute. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.